Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be going over the Zippy Kraken. Alright, so this is the Kraken V2.5, or this even counts for the V3 because details should be pretty much similar, just slightly different. Obviously, the balance will be a little different. I think it applies more to that, especially plus it's booby style, versus the Phoenix design Kraken. Yeah, and so basically we're just going to be comparing the two, kind of seeing what features they have, kind of how they differ, and what I think is worth more of your money. Because, they are, they're obviously different products. This you have to kind of build yourself, whereas this is more of a plug-and-play setup. Although, by all means, this is also very much plug-and-play setup, since, it's pretty bog standard. I wouldn't say there's anything particularly fancy about this in terms of how to acquire getting one, or at least even putting it together. So yeah, this is just the standard Green Industries Kraken V2.5 trainer, and basically it's 7075 aluminium, so is that. And I think this is 440 stainless for the blade. Excuse me. Yeah, it's a pretty bog standard knife. However, this has the zippy inserts, which actually makes it a pretty interesting flipper. It definitely makes the Kraken a little bit more interesting, but I also feel like it's a little bit conflicting in terms of kind of like how it's flipping. I feel like the blade and the handles are kind of going off of two very different ideologies. Whereas here, I think you get a little bit more consistent Kraken style ideology. So the way I'd say is, in the feel wise, they basically feel the same, right? The handles, it's just going to depend on what color you get for this, because other than that, ooh, that sounds good. Other than that, there's not going to be much difference in terms of how they feel in the hand. Obviously, that versus that. I mean, honestly, there's similar levels of comfort. If anything, I actually give the comfort to this. It's got a slightly wider spine, so it's a little bit more hugging when it comes to javelins. Obviously, that's most of your interaction with the blade. The bite handle indicator, it's about the same. I mean, you do that versus that. I mean, that one hurts a little more, but it's not like that's an important part of the the knife. You'll know if you're on the bite handle. You're not going to be like, oh, did I land on the bite handle? You'll know. But yeah, when it comes to the distribution, like I was saying earlier, so the Kraken has very evenly distributed handles. I think that's one thing they've done really well. And that's one thing that the Kraken is known for. It's a really well, evenly distributed balisong, with really good distribution between the handles, because they have obviously the standard kind of weight going all the way down to the bottom, however, with this big chunk of aluminium at the bottom. However, they have the holes drilled out here, and that means the handles feel super evenly distributed, as if the weight is just kind of fairly evenly concentrated. It is slightly biased towards the end, but by no means is that something that you feel quite a lot when flipping. However, the blade with the zippy inserts goes through the other approach that a lot of other balisongs use, especially the machine-wise products, where the weight is towards the ends. Now, obviously, this is slightly mitigated by these two middle ones here, but it means this combination here with all three weights in, I don't know, even though the balance is actually pretty good, and it fixes the fanning, it fans even better than that. I just think it's a little bit like a conflict of ideology, where the blade moves slightly differently to how you expect for the handles that this has. That's a really weird thing to try and explain. Yeah, I'm not sure how else to explain that, but that's kind of how I'd explain it. Because it feels like the blade is more tip weight, and the handles are more evenly distributed And so that's what I mean by they're going to go off of different philosophies. I messed up that word because English is a language. Yeah. When it comes to this thing, though, this is a much more kind of, I'd say, standard Kraken experience. You get a very good even weight distribution, even with all this nice tip weight here. There's a good amount of kind of weight throughout the blade. Obviously, there's big channel nails here. There's these big holes here, but you honestly don't actually feel it a lot when flipping. I'd say maybe like, yeah, fans are a little unstable in comparison to what I normally flip, but by no means are they bad. Honestly, this thing is pretty impressive, especially for the price you're looking at. So I believe you can get a pair of blemished handles off of Squid's website for $60. I'm going to talk in pounds just for now, so just because I know some of the prices in pounds. Yeah, I believe you can get Squid handles for at £60, £65. Then shipping's like 15 quid. So I think if you use like a 10% discount code, that's always available. You can get these maybe like £70, £80, right, for the handles. And I believe the blade is about £100 with like very cheap shipping in comparison to most other original makers, which means that, you know, it's under £200 knife, whereas this is easily 230 for the trainer. And then obviously we have inflated prices here in the UK for Squid products, which is a bit annoying. Squid, please just help us out here. We're paying $81 for a Squiddy B equivalent, whereas you sell yours for $60. It's a bit scandalous. I understand, obviously, things get taxed a little more here and shipping and all that, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Although I do think Squid are finally getting their stuff actually onto UK Amazon, which is pretty impressive. So yeah, maybe Balisongs will be even easier to come across, to get into, as the hobby grows larger and larger. But yeah, it's like 230, and then the zippy inserts, my guess will probably be about £30 to ship them to you, even if you go for like the cheaper shipping. So that's including, it's like £30 including the inserts and the spacers, right? So that's £250 knife at least. Obviously, there's assuming you get second hand. Even if you get a blem, they're not that much cheaper. So this is a good 50 to 80 quid more expensive than this. And I'm gonna be real with you. This flips a lot more consistently. And if you want a Kraken, this is a much better experience. Because even with like hardware and stuff, obviously this doesn't run on Squid hardware. It runs on TrueLink hardware, which I'm not going to get into a debate on that, but they're both very good. And I mean, this thing, it sounds good, it flips good. My only qualm with it, as you'll see in my review, is that this thing is just crazy loud, and the fans are a little... The fans leave something to be desired, which is perfectly fine, because this is more of a handle bias knife, as you can see. It's a light handle bias. It's nothing crazy. It's pretty neutral. This is, you know, definitely a more neutral to slight blade bias even Balisong. Which I think for blade bias knives, if you are going to make a knife that's blade bias, I highly recommend to get it to feel within the realms of normalcy and, you know, more competitive flippability. You want to definitely have some weight concentrated towards the end of the handles, which is why I think the Prisma does so well, because it kind of follows both of that. Obviously, I'm talking about the V1 Prisma here because that's a blade bias knife, not the V2, which is actually, you know, very handle biased, especially now that it's on 7075 as well. And it's actually a competitor price-wise for this guy. So really, if you prefer the Kraken style of flipping, and you prefer your, you know, standard length knives, I'd say this is probably the best trainer you're looking at for under £200. Whereas if you prefer, you know, longer knives, a bit more unique flipping, in terms of it just doesn't flip quite like a lot else. Especially if you remove those bottom pivots, you get a little bit of that Prisma charm back. You know, then I'd say go for the Prisma V2, or, you know, if you're looking for like the cheapest best trainer, try get your hands on like a second-hand Prisma V1, because they are genuinely insane at how good they are. yeah, but that's pretty much that. I mean, I'd say bang for your buck. This definitely takes the cake. I think parting a Kraken together, super cool. I think this looks really good. And I'm personally not a buoy kind of guy. I much prefer a Tanto blade. I actually think that, you know, personally, I really like this Japanese Tanto, which is based off the buoy style, which makes no sense. But I really like this Japanese Tanto style. I think it works well. I wish it was longer. I think Krakens are like, they have really short blades. I don't know. It's just bizarre. They just seem really short. Maybe because I'm used to flipping other knives at the moment. But yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just a bit bizarre. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, or at least garnered something, you know, big shout out to Clone Support, Phoenix Design, and Eldog Flips. Ignore that. I was trying to point whilst doing tricks at the same time. But yeah, big shout out to them for allowing me to get my hands on these. Yeah, if you enjoyed the video, you know, garnered something for me, leave a like, leave a comment. I'll happily be there to answer it. Drop a subscribe, all that good stuff. You know, turn your notifications on if you want to see when I upload stuff, because I have like a low-key feeling that I'm kind of shadow banned at the moment, as videos aren't getting pushed out to nearly as many people as they used to have been, which is kind of annoying, to be honest. Like, it's just like, really, YouTube? You didn't have to do that to me. I follow all your guidelines. I'm playing with toys, but it is what it is. Yeah, so yeah, check out the description, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.